Yeah.
It's cold.
It is cold.
Burr.
Burr. As you guys can see, the pond is still frozen. But we're having a nice sunshiny blue sky kind of day. For today at least.
It's nice in the sun.
Yeah.
It's really, really cold in the shade. Quite a bit has melted away.
Oh yeah, the property changes in the blink of an eye. That's why they say if you don't like the weather, just wait a day, right? No. Today is actually a nice day.
Yeah.
Very cold, but it's a nicer day. We've got a nice, beautiful, sunshiny day on the radar for tomorrow too. And the next day.
I'm looking forward to it.
But we're still gonna have those freezing temperatures, so all of this is likely to stick around for a bit longer.
Yep.
Even our creek still has big old chunks of ice in it, but the water's flowing pretty good now. It looks so pretty.
Float off.
Gary and I have kind of been on hold for the last few days because of all of our crazy weather for our building projects and different things, but that's all right. We got plenty to do and keep us busy here on the homestead.
Yes.
Always something to do.
I'm really happy that the snow is starting to melt away.
Yeah, me too.
It's also turning into ice, so.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah, we had so much snow covering up all of our materials, which, like Gary said, it is starting to melt away.
Well, I'm curious to see if the snow has fully melted away off the materials that we need to use.
Yeah, the siding.
Siding and all the
boards and
all the boards and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm curious on it.
Oh, we're about to go find out. Gary and I just wanted to go on a walk this morning real quick, get the blood pumping, get moving. Made it to the bottom tier of our yard. You can see we still got quite a bit of snow on the ground.
Yep. This side doesn't really get a whole lot of sunlight. So, yeah.
Yep.
Everywhere we have stepped, it has turned literally to ice.
I know.
So,
you can tell where we've been.
Watch your step.
As you guys can tell, the chickens have pretty much stayed right next to the Pecker Palace this whole time. They haven't really ventured out much further than that at all. There's like no tracks except for our footprints. I mean, over there, they haven't even touched that corner. However, they have gone onto the perch and been sitting over there. You could tell by all of the poo. And they've melted all the snow over here by standing on it so much. But they're hanging in there. They're hanging tough. They're doing their thing.
Yep.
They're making do. Nice and warm in their house.
Yeah, they've got it's nice and warm inside. Any one of these structures, it's surprising on the warmth the second you go inside of it compared to outside.
Oh, night and day.
Night and day difference. So they're nice and happy. They don't even look wet or damp or anything like that.
No.
They don't look like they've got anything going crazy. They look nice and healthy and dry as a bone.
We saw the comments that you guys had left about maybe getting like a rubber bowl for their waterer, and that sounds like a really great idea. Right now, we can't exactly leave the 41.36 because the roads are so icy. I mean, if there was an emergency, then we would venture off, but without there being like an emergency, we're just gonna kind of stay hunkered down over here. The metal definitely does make ice faster and it is a pain in the butt to have to come out every day and break it all down, right?
Yeah.
And so some of the commenters, they were mentioning getting like the rubber bowls because even if it freezes, then it just pops out a lot easier. And that sounds like a great idea. There were some other suggestions too about like putting a crock pot out here, which, no offense, I just don't like the sound of that. That just doesn't sound, the electricity alone and the distance between here and where we're gonna get the electricity, that's a really long extension cord, or putting one of our battery banks out in the weather. It just doesn't really sound that good to me.
It's a bad combo, which is why we have not had any electrical cords ran all the way down here.
Yeah, not yet.
It's that run itself. One, that cord could burn up, and whatever you have could burn up and catch fire that's plugged in. The cord could catch fire, or your house could catch fire where it's plugged,
goes back
where it would be plugged into. So yeah, I'd rather not. Or have a shock issue with all the snow and any meltage and it being water, you know?
I will say
it would be plugged into a GFCI still.
I will say one of the best ideas that I did hear from you guys, and this was in concern of the rabbits, which we're going to go over there and check them out in just a minute. Somebody had said, you know, why don't you take an old junky sock and maybe some of those hot hands and put like hot hands around it, so that way, you know, it doesn't freeze as fast. And that sounds like a great idea. We might try that one. Another person suggested that we buy some more of those waterers, and that way we can have some in the house and then just rotate them around. Every morning we just bring the other one out instead of having to wait. And that's a great idea. We'll probably take that one into consideration.
That's probably what we're gonna do. During this time frame and during the winter months, I don't really want to leave the house.
Not as much, no.
Not really as much. One, because it's the road conditions, but two, our animals. But three, my house. I don't want to leave the house unattended in this winter condition where if something freezes and breaks, I'm here and I can turn it off, you know, and maintain the house if something happens, you know.
Gary and I are like really social homebodies, if that makes sense. We like to be social.
I love the winter months.
A YouTube channel, but we're also very much homebodies that really just like to be home all the time.
And in the winter is when you end up, you know, cooping up inside your house a little bit more.
Being home more.
Exactly. So that's where I'm looking at it. It's like I have no problem coming outside every day and watering the chickens and the rabbits and everything else like that.
But those are fantastic suggestions.
But the rubber bowl, I'm thinking about the next time I go to town to go buy one.
And just have that be the winter bowl?
Correct. And just have that being like more so the winter bowl per se. Because eventually we are going to have a watering system for both, you know. Ideally, I would like to make it to where it's not going to be freezing, but it's not going to come right now.
Not yet.
Not yet. Because power-wise, that's going to come from the garage.
Yeah.
So.
And actually, we had in plans to make it for the chickens, and that big 55-gallon barrel drum is part of the plans for their automatic watering system. We just haven't gotten around to it yet. We've been kind of busy. You guys know how it goes, life.
Yeah, you know.
But Gary and I want to thank you guys for always being so helpful in the comment section and all of your amazing suggestions and tips and tricks. And I want you guys to not be offended if we don't take any of them, but also don't be discouraged from leaving them more for us, because we really do appreciate it.
Yes, we do. So thank you guys so much for those tips and tricks. We are definitely taking all of them into consideration.
Yeah, we love you guys.
We're down here over at the rabbits.
I'm sure you guys are wondering about these babies, and we're here to show you guys and spill all the beans, answer some more questions, and let you guys get another peek at them, because at this point they're 3 days old, 2 days old.
They were born on the 17th. I don't know what day.
So they're 2 days old today.
Yeah, 2 days. 2 days today.
2 days today. Well, let's unbutton Mama and let's take a peek at these babies. Oh, hi, Mama.
We've got some nice food. I'm gonna throw this all back up in there. There you go, Mama.
Well, Mama, do you mind if we take a look at your babies?
She's trying to bury
Oh, it's so sweet. That one looks kind of brown, don't it? I'm not sure if this one's going to end up being brown or white. This one is not as pink as what they usually look like. So there's one.
They're all trying to bury themselves in here now.
Yeah.
I want to be quick.
Oh, look at how fat this one is.
Super fat.
Look at this one, super pudgy. Look at that belly.
Yeah. That looks like a boy.
Can't tell yet.
Can't tell yet.
You gotta look for taco or burrito.
No, I know.
Look at him, he's so sweet. And I'm not sure if this one's gonna end up being brown or white either. He definitely looks a bit more brown.
There's another.
Aww. It's so sweet.
They all look nice and healthy.
Yes. Oh, aren't they so sweet, guys? So Gary and I did an actual count of them the other day, and she ended up having 9, but 7 of them made it. The other 2 were kind of off to the side in the nest, and they did not make it. It's like Mama had culled them herself. But we have 7 that are viable and doing very well and currently reburying themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna throw some more of this nesting back on top.
Right on top, yeah. We're gonna move this.
Oh, why don't you tip it up a little bit so we could show people what we got going on underneath that. You guys see that? We got some hot hands under there, which does help out. Not necessary, 100% overkill. But we do have some of those hot hands in between the wood and the plastic and the bedding of the nest. So again, we just did that because it's overkill, 100% not necessary, but our temperatures have been pretty nasty.
No, it's got this wood right here, and it's got this, the actual lid of the plastic, plus the hay and the bedding that she created inside of it, with all the fur and everything. So with this itself, it's very well insulated from the bottom wind. Huh, Mama? You're a good mama. You know that?
And now rabbits' cages need to have the wire on the bottom so that way their poop can fall through and they're not living in pee and poop. It needs to be designed this way.
Yeah, and then now they actually have airflow, which I know a lot of people have a really hard time wrapping their head around it, but animals need airflow. If they have stagnant air, just think of all the poop and pee. Do you want to be inside of a porta potty and live inside of a porta potty? No. Nobody wants that, all right? You want some good airflow and be able to get natural breathing air back and forth. So, and it makes it to where you can dry out a little bit better too. So,
yep.
Keeps everybody nice and dry. If they do end up getting wet or pee on themselves or anything else like that, it'll let them to dry out a little bit and not just sit there in wet in the cold.
Yeah.
Which is not good.
Yeah. Well, we checked on Mama. The babies are all still doing very well. Nice big fat tummies. Mama's teats are nice and full too. So we know that she is doing her job nursing them and taking care of them. And I expect them to be great.
Yeah.
I expect them to be very great. They're doing well so far. Very good this time around. The first time around, you know, when rabbits have their very first litter, just like a lot of animals, they're not really sure what to do and how to nurture them. So sometimes animals will do a natural culling. I've seen cats do it. I've seen dogs do it. I've seen rabbits do it. Which there's no nice way to say it, but they eat their young. That's not what she did. She actually just didn't nest them like how she nested them this time. And, you know, they're born without hair. And if she didn't nest them and doesn't sit on them and doesn't take care of them in that way, then the elements will get after them and, you know, they'll starve and stuff like that. So that's what happened the first time around. The second time around, they are doing very well. Nice fat tummies, a good bedding. Mama seems very happy, very chilled temperament. So I expect them to do very well for us. And I am very excited to have some new babies on the homestead.
Yeah, she's doing great. I am thoroughly happy with this mama.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we got to check on the boys. You guys have water. You got water. You got food.
Hi, boys.
You guys are doing good.
Hi, Bruno.
I hear you guys.
Hi, Shrek Buster. No, they're doing good. They're doing really good. Now, there was some other suggestions for us to put in some straw and stuff like that in for the boys to use as bedding during these cold snaps. And the rabbits will literally just throw it out of their cage. The males don't nest. They don't do that. They reject it and they eat it. So if we were to throw any of that kind of stuff in there, it'd be mostly just for a snack for them, which we have done.
Yeah.
But being that I only have that little bag left over that I had gotten from Anthony and Roxanne, I want to save that in case I need that for the babies, because again, the boys aren't going to use it.
Well, let's go this way, I guess, and we'll check on the materials and see if our materials are dry, because that's our next task.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like the snow is pretty much melted away over here.
Yeah. I know the kids are up in their playhouse right now. I heard them hollering just a few seconds ago.
Jumping around.
By the looks of it, guys, check it out. It looks like the snow has melted off of our wood pile over here.
Yeah.
Now, I know it doesn't look the prettiest or the most organized. That's because it's not, but that's okay. It's still usable wood. But the snow is definitely melted off of the majority of it. It looks like it's drying out pretty good. So
I like that.
You know what that means.
Tomorrow's gonna be a big day.
Yes.
Tomorrow,
big day. We're probably gonna get this thing sided.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll be working on that. I do have some zip tape so I can tape that side.
Yep, that seam right there on the corner, pretty much the corners.
I ran out just literally by the little bit right there, that strip, and that tiny bit right there, and up on that corner there's like a tiniest little bit. But
we got more.
I did buy more.
Yep.
So
tomorrow, since we have another big storm coming our way that's going to be hitting early next week, tomorrow we are likely going to start with all of the siding since everything's pretty thawed out now. We'll start working on getting this thing sided up, and then we'll be ready to hunker down for another week-long storm.
And we'll see where we got to go from there.
Yeah. So Gary and I are just taking it day by day on the homestead, guys. We're trying to get as much done as we possibly can, but also enjoying this nice respite that God has put before us with this weather.
Yes.
So we're going to go inside, warm up a little bit. I actually have been promising you guys, for those that watch our second channel, Real Talk with SLR, we got into a discussion maybe a week ago or something like that about my meatloaf, because everybody seems to love my meatloaf. And so I told Gary that I was going to make him that for dinner tonight. And I told the folks on Real Talk with SLR that today is their lucky day. I get cooped up in the house and then I get all cooking crazy. And today I'm going to be making the meatloaf for you guys. So
that sounds good to me.
Yeah. So let's go inside and warm up. And I'm going to show you guys my not so secret recipe. All right, so we're in from the cold and I'm gonna start preparing everything for dinner. But before I do, I gotta get that meat thawed out. So while I wait for that to thaw so I can actually start working on dinner, I'm actually gonna make us some dessert. Now, I know it's not exactly the season for it anymore because it's usually very popular around Christmas time, but I don't care. It's my favorite cookie and I'm gonna make it. So I'm gonna make some quick snickerdoodles while I wait for the meat to thaw out so we have a nice dessert for tonight.
I don't know what it is about snickerdoodles that I just love so much, but I just love snickerdoodles. Maybe it's the tanginess, maybe it's the cinnamon and the tart, I'm not sure, but gosh darn it, they are delicious. I put the ingredients as well as the instructions in the upper left-hand corner for you guys if you wanted to use the same recipe that I was using. But as you can see, I was able to use my new KitchenAid mixer, and I did get a splash guard so that way I don't have all of the ingredients splashing on me like that one time I was making pancakes. Anyhow, I'm at the point now in the video where all of the dough is mixed up, and now I'm just putting it into the cinnamon sugar mixture and flatten it on the cookie sheet and baking it for 9 minutes, and there you have it. Snickerdoodles, easy and delicious.
All right, well, now that I got dessert ready, I'm gonna start working on dinner. Now, over on Real Talk with SLR, a lot of people have been asking me for my meatloaf recipe. I'm gonna go over a couple of different variations on how I make it. I'm gonna make it one particular way tonight, but I am gonna talk to you guys about the different variations that I use for it when I only have certain ingredients in the house. You know what I'm talking about? For instance, tonight I'm actually gonna be making it with real bacon, but a lot of the times I use these bacon chips. And if I have them, I'll also use the bacon pieces. I'm not going to be using either of these today, but I do want you to know that if you don't have real bacon and you have those on hand, you can use those and it definitely tastes just as good. I'm gonna get out all the ingredients, set it on the counter for you guys so you can have a nice look-see, and then we're gonna get busy. All right, I got all the ingredients out. And like I was saying earlier, there are variations that can be made depending on the items that I have currently fresh and in stock at the house when I go to make it. So we're gonna start with the ground beef. I've got 2 pounds of ground beef already set aside, thawed out, and in my bowl. I got 2 eggs set aside. I've got a bag of probably, I'm saying that there's probably like 1.5 cups of shredded Mexican style cheese. I've got some Italian style breadcrumbs, great value brand, because you know, I'm a bargain hunter. Some 3 pepper and onion blend. This was actually in the frozen food section. Now, I buy my peppers and onions frozen a lot. The main reason is because it lasts a lot longer and I have less trips to the store. If you have fresh red, yellow, and green peppers and some onion at home, go ahead and use it with those fresh ingredients, but since I don't have them, I'm gonna go ahead and use my frozen ingredients. Comes out just as good. We're gonna use some minced garlic. Again, if you have whole garlic, you can go ahead and use that as well, but we're using minced garlic today. Some ground cumin, some ground black pepper, kosher salt, Italian seasoning, and a few pieces of bacon cut into small slivers and fried, but not fried all the way. You still want it to be a little bit soft with some crispy spots. So like this piece is crispy, but there's a lot of soft spots in here. If you don't have any real bacon on hand, you can use the bacon chips or the real bacon pieces that you can get for your salads. And in that case, I would probably use maybe 1/2 cup of those for the whole recipe of 2 pounds of ground beef. Since I'm using real bacon and it has much more flavor to it and it's quite thicker, I probably used about 1/2 pack of 1 pound of thick sliced bacon. The last thing you will need is you are gonna need milk. Don't knock it till you try it. It's actually a very important key to this whole concoction. So now that we've gone over all of the ingredients, let's get it measured out and let's get it put in here. Now I'm literally just gonna be going off of memory because I don't have any of this written out. I usually go with a pinch of this and a dash of that. But for y'all's sake, I'm gonna put it in measuring cups and we'll see what the actual measurements come out to be because I honestly don't know. So I got my 2 pounds of ground beef in here and we are gonna start with our eggs. Just wanna crack them and drop them right on top. Next, we are gonna take our pepper and onion blend and I'm going to just dump in about 3 cups. If you are using fresh ingredients, you're probably going to be using 1/2 of a green pepper, 1/2 of a yellow pepper, 1/2 of a red pepper, and 1/2 of an onion. But since I'm using the frozen out of the big bag, it was 3 cups. Now I'm gonna take my minced garlic and I'm gonna add in 1 heaping teaspoon, just right there. Next up is my shredded cheese, and that's 1 cup and 1/2 cup. I'm gonna put about 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs in there. Now I'm gonna use my Italian seasoning and add a nice healthy teaspoon of that in there and 1/2. Now it's time for the cumin, and I only put about a very small, normal sized teaspoon of cumin in there. Next up is black pepper. Some kosher salt.
Each person gets 7 cards.
We're gonna add in a half a cup of milk. And finally, add in that bacon. All the grease and everything, we want it all. All right, now that I got it all mushed up and blended together, I'm gonna take my pan that I just washed and I'm gonna set it inside here. I've got my oven preheated at 375, nice and ready for it. The last thing I have to do is now take it, put it inside this tin and get it in the oven. Now, how I like to do mine is I like to squish mine and put it all up on the edges.
It was a person in space.
Alexa, set timer for 40 minutes. All right, my timer just went off to go ahead and take the meatloaf out, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that done. All right, now you might notice there is all of this grease from the meat and it shrunk up quite a bit. So we're gonna dump that grease and then we have one other thing we gotta do here. Now we're gonna take just some ketchup and put it inside a bowl. And we're gonna take some Worcestershire sauce. A couple of shakes of that, put it in there, and we're gonna mix that up together.
Oh, hey. Yeah, I couldn't sleep either. All these secret groups.
Now that I got the ketchup and Worcestershire sauce mix on top of the meatloaf, I'm gonna put it back inside my oven for another 6 minutes just to kind of warm up and glaze a little bit. Alexa, set timer for 6 minutes. All right, the timer just went off. Let's check this meatloaf. Oh yeah, look at that. I can already smell it. It smells amazing. Time to get everybody's plates ready and dish out dinner. Baby, here's your meatloaf.
Oh yeah.
And boys, what do you think? We're gonna enjoy the rest of our evening. I wanna thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today and watching today's episode. We'll have some new updates coming down the pipe for you guys soon. Tomorrow should be a busy day for me and you.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get that siding and stuff on the kids' playhouse. So stay tuned. Until the next one, friends, we love y'all and we hope you have a good one.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, you guys.
Later, later.